vehicles to utilize to hedge against some of the cybersecurity breaches that we've been seeing in the news, with large Mariah botnet attack that came a couple weeks ago and denied, shut down, large portions of websites on the East and West Coast. That's a grand scale, but even on smaller scales, tell us about the options that companies have.
So let's talk about the marketplace for a moment. I think it's important to kind of think of insurance two ways. One is your traditional insurance policies, which are things that you already have, your liability policy, your property policy, your D&O policy, maybe a crime policy, and whether those policies that we all call traditional policies respond. And the answer is maybe. Some do, sometimes they do. There's a case involving travelers and a big healthcare company where there was exposure of private information, and that was covered under these traditional policies. But what you see more and more are exclusions coming into those more traditional policies to push the marketplace to cyber policies. Now, we did a little experiment in the office the other day. We took the 45 different cyber policies that we know are being sold on the market, put them in a conference room, and tried to compare them to come up with what the commonality was. And unlike car insurance, because all of our car insurance policies are the same pretty much, these policies are dramatically different and cover lots of different things, and state coverage is very differently. So I made two lists. One list is the most common coverages in those 45 policies, and then some of the common things they cover. But just keep in mind there are many differences as there are commonalities. But here's commonality. 10 different coverages seem to come up over and over. Network security liability, privacy liability, electronic media liability, regulatory defense liability, technology errors and omission, crisis management, security breach remediation notification coverage, computer fraud coverage, funds transfer fraud coverage, cyber extortion, and business interruption. So what that tells you is that those are the areas that the underwriters feel that they can underwrite with some degree of certainty. That's why it's a common thing among these policies. So what kind of things are they willing to cover? What kind of dollars and cents are they willing to take on? Well, these are the things. Notification costs, costs of providing credit monitoring, public relations firms, forensic investigations, regulatory compliance costs, regulatory response costs, business interruption costs, costs of restoring data. That could be a significant cost. That's one that's going to be commonly covered. And ransom. These are the different types of things that we see across more than, say, a third of the policies. So I think that what we're going to see is these products are going to continue to evolve. But as we see here today, that's kind of the scope of what's being covered.
Sure. Did you see, just to dive a little bit into that, were there specific limitations to those policies that you went through?
There are different types of exclusions in every insurance policy. So for these types of policies, you're seeing some common ones, which the easiest one is, if you're covered under a different type of policy, meaning one of your traditional policies, you're typically going to be excluded from coverage of your cyber policy. There's exclusions for fraud and dishonesty. There's exclusions for a lot of IP claims. A lot of intellectual property claims are not going to be covered. And we'll talk a little more in detail about some ways around that later, but a lot of traditional sort of off-the-shelf cyber policies exclude IP coverage. But then there are exclusions that are in the policies that nobody quite knows what they mean because there's no case law whatsoever on them. I'll give you an example. There's one for failure to maintain network security. Isn't that the way you bought the insurance to begin with, right? To help you because of the problem? I think the idea behind that exclusion is if you are simply, grossly negligent and you simply aren't taking any steps whatsoever, and in the underwriting you didn't quite kind of disclose the way you were protecting your company correctly, then maybe this is now for the insurance company. But it's written so poorly, it's just going to be a fight later on. Another one is an exclusion for the unlawful gathering of information. Huh. You can just look at that as a lawyer's dream, because you know there's gonna be a million arguments about that. So I think that's kind of what we're seeing right now.
Wow, thank you so much. I'll switch gears a little bit. Gabrielle, could you tell us a little bit more